Hello guys, Fuzz here, and you are watching Final Fantasy VII with the new Threat 1.4 fan-made mod enabled, and I'll put a link to that along with the author credits in this video description. Since this is a modded Final Fantasy VII playthrough, it's not really for those who are on their first time through, and if you are on your first time through the game, I recommend my standard Final Fantasy VII complete walkthrough, which I'll also put in the video description. And for your information, I will be skipping a lot of cutscenes, again because this is for the Final Fantasy VII veterans. So you might recognise these guards. These are always present in Final Fantasy VII, and they always engage in battle with you, preventing you from going through the door that they're guarding. What is a little bit different in this version of the game with the mod is the battle that follows. Now, we begin by fighting these three soldiers, and they're a challenge, don't get me wrong. What I didn't expect was that I should be fully healed by the end of this battle. The reason being, oh, and look at that, the amount of experience you need per level. Everything's been retuned, so that should be fun, trying to get to level 99. But what I didn't expect was to have a second ability, second battle, immediately after, with a chocobo. So this is a kind of boss battle, if you like. And I'll tell you what, it ain't easy, it really isn't. It would have been helpful if I'd at least begun with full health, which I hadn't. And look, this chocobo, he hits like a ton of bricks. He really does hit like a freight train. Fortunately, I managed to defeat this battle because Cloud's Limit Break and Barrett's Limit Break helped me to defeat the ads quite quickly at the start. Which means we can get right on with killing the chocobo, which has a respectable 1,000 hit points. But despite his best efforts, he's not enough to destroy our party, and we are able to take him down first time. Now, it's actually worth doing this battle, and I do recommend that you do so, because we do get a nice item reward once it's finished. No experience, mind you, or very negligible amount, but we do get the Choco Bracelet. And I think I end up actually giving this to Tifa, because the decent thing about the Choco Bracelet is it has a massive defense boost on it. The defense stat is just very, very helpful indeed. Or the defense percentage, I should say. And once I put this on Tifa, she doesn't take much damage going forward in future battles. And I think I even put the cover materia on her as well, just to try and synergise that Choco Bracelet with defending the rest of the party, which does work well, I might point out. But apart from some random challenging encounters, most of this section is pretty much identical to the original game, so we'll just skip ahead some of these areas as we come to the next Mako reactor, which is of course our second target of destruction for our little party of Avalanche here. Our terrorist organisation. I remember when I first played Final Fantasy VII, way back in the day in the late 90s. I got really confused why the game seemed to be repeating itself at this point. I thought I'd glitched it or something, but of course I hadn't. It is just the second Mako reactor. And here we have another tough random enemy encounter. And I don't think I actually gain any levels before the next boss, in all honesty, because of the steep experience requirements that are now made as part of this mod. But remember, it's not just about levelling up your characters anymore, it is about the itemisation, which has been completely revamped, as you just saw with that Choco Bracelet. Most of your character power, when you play this version of the game, is gained from equipping items. And this time, we get another enemy encounter when we activate the second bomb, which you don't get, if I remember correctly, in the original Final Fantasy VII game. In fact, you get no acknowledgement at all that you've set the bomb. And this fight as well is also very challenging because you're facing off with 5 enemies at once. So once you can start getting them down, then it becomes more manageable. One of the things that makes this game highly challenging, especially to begin with, I've noticed, is all the status ailments that you get afflicted with. Poison, darkness, sleep comes a little bit later. And we hardly have any items to correct those ailments, so it is a bit of a problem. And here we have the best change that we've encountered so far with this mod. I happen to miss the button push here. Is that a problem? Of course not, as Barrett so eloquently tells us. The door opens anyway. And here we are approaching our next major story boss, which isn't the President, of course. So, of course, this next boss is Airbuster's big ugly brother. And he has a lot more health, new abilities, and basically all-round bad stuff. Although, in saying that, it does stay true to the original fight, at least in spirit. As you're about to witness. Here he comes. This isn't Airbuster. This is Plasma Buster. Also a Techno Soldier, but the upgraded Techno Soldier. So Airbuster was a pretty pansy fight, and you could usually one or two hit him if you aimed your abilities from the correct row. I think he had about 800 health in Final Fantasy VII. This upgraded fella has 4,000 health and some nastier attacks to go with it. One of his most annoying attacks is his counter attack, which has a tendency to pop the person it hits to sleep. As you're about to see. The only way to break that is to physically attack that character with another party member. It might be possible to find the remedy for it in the form of an item, but I haven't, in all honesty, by this point, so I'm not sure if it is or not. So you do have to watch out for these counter attacks, but other than that, it is just a case, as far as I can tell, of whittling him down and using limit breaks to do the bulk of the damage. Make sure you stay on top of healing, of course, with potions, high potions, and cure seems to be a funny one in this game. I'm not sure why, maybe somebody can explain to me, but half the time it keeps getting reflected back onto the monster, the mob or the boss, whenever I cast it, and it's not any of my abilities or equipment that does that as far as I can tell, so it must be something to do with what the enemies are attacking me with. But it's making me afraid to actually cast Cure, which is a bit annoying really, so I'd like to figure out exactly what it is that's causing reflect on my characters. But as we all know, I'm sure by now, Cloud has a pretty lengthy fall here, but doesn't actually get killed, thanks to the aptly placed flower bed. It's a good job he didn't land a few extra feet. He could have fallen on the bugged X-ATM Scorpion, which did make me jump when it first appeared on the screen, but I've come to the conclusion it is a complete bug. So Ares' innate ability is actually quite useful sounding. She will completely absorb attacks that are based on those elements, or spells I should say that are based on those elements, but only when you cast the defend ability. But one thing I have noticed is that in this mod I am using the defend ability quite often, in fact, so I'm looking forward to that. I did want to leave this little scene in because I do like it. Reno the Hypocrite. But everything else after that point is the same, at least as far as I could tell. You have to push the barrels on the enemies, else Ares will get into a solo fight. And she starts off with some useful materia as well, by the way, including the heal materia, which removes status ailments, at least once it's been leveled up it does. And she also has some other useful stuff as well. But I think we'll finish on this fight for today. So these bandits are somewhat annoying because they like to steal from you and then escape battle. And if you want the item back that they steal, you have to kill them before they escape. So pretty standard Final Fantasy stuff. But as you can see, Ares does a nice bit of damage with magic abilities. And as I mentioned in the last episode, magic has much more of a use in this modded version of the game than it did in the original version. But anyway guys, I think we'll finish things off here, so thanks for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let me know if you want to see any more of these episodes in the future. And if you do, I'll see you then. Take care guys, bye for now.